Most photographers are stuck and not proud of their work because they're getting some important things wrong. And while I can't tell you what's holding you exactly back through this video, the 7 things I'm going through today can definitely be part of the reason. If you're new here, hi, I'm Hugo. I help outdoor photographers go from button clickers to storytelling photographers. I get lots of photographers asking me for advice, but most of them are asking the completely wrong questions. So today I'm going through the 7 things most photographers get wrong, and I hope this video will get you some required eye-openers to help you go to the next level. But before we dive in, if you haven't checked out Focus Notes, my newsletter, make sure to do so from the link in the description. That's where I share photography insights from my journey to over 6,000 photographers. Alright, let's dive in. The first thing most photographers get wrong is filters. Filters, filters, filters. And especially in 2025 and beyond whenever you are watching this. But many think you need filters. But that's not the case. You don't need filters. Or at least many filters. When I take my most popular photos, for example, night photos, I don't use a single filter for this. It just is my camera, lens, and that's it. Now then, for some daylight scenes, there's one filter I use, and that's a polarizer. Now that's the only filter, in my opinion, what you need for most photography. Because this is something you can't, the effect from the polarizer is something you can't replicate in Lightroom or Photoshop. It's not doable. So that's why it's an important thing to have, and the polarizer does give you more contrasty look and saturation to colors and so on. And yeah, this is a great filter to have, but you don't need other stuff, you don't need mist filters, you don't need these ND filters and other filters. These are not needed, especially if you're anything like me. I want to keep my photography as simple as humanly possible. I don't want to make it any more complicated than it needs to be, and filters can absolutely overcomplicate your process and make you much slower on field. And often, from my experience, the best photos require you to be fast. You don't have ages, you don't have hours to set up filters and perfecting settings and your focus points and so on. You need to be fast. So yeah, don't use all type of filters. It's not required. Polarizer is something what I recommend. Other stuff you can do in Lightroom and Photoshop, especially with the ND filters. Alright, number 2, and this one has really surprised me how many photographers don't understand this. I thought this is the most obvious thing in the world, but then I realized that it isn't. And this is crop factor. Now, what is crop factor? So say you have a 35mm lens, right? So it says 35. And if you don't have a full frame camera, then that lens doesn't actually give you the look of a 35mm. If you are shooting on a Sony, Nikon, or Fujifilm, then the crop factor is 1.5. Canon has 1.6. So what you need to do is have the focal length 35mm times crop factor, say now 1.5, and that gives you 52.5 millimeters. So now you actually are not getting a 35mm look from your camera, but you are getting a 52.5mm look. And this is if you use an APS-C sensor. So if you're wondering why your photos aren't looking as wide as you thought they should look, it can be because you have a crop factor in your camera. So you need to take this into count. So know that in many cameras, APS-Cs and even smaller sensors, they have a crop factor assigned to them. And you just need to have the focal length times crop factor and you will get the actual focal length. So this is important to get. Then number 3, I see many photographers, button clickers, who I call those who don't yet know how to go beyond the technicalities. Yeah, many button clickers, they do see that they need to understand every button of their camera and every setting and everything, and also the same in like Lightroom, like I need to understand everything. But that's just false. It's not true. And to be fair, I don't fault you for that. It's not your fault, because most photography teachers out there, they do just preach about settings and like how-tos on a camera technicalities, but you don't need to know everything. I can hold my hands up and say I don't know everything about my camera even after 7 years of having this Sony a7 III, and I don't know everything in Lightroom. And the thing is that because you don't need to know that, you just need to know the essentials, what actually matters. And especially when you are an outdoor photographer, you need to understand just the essentials that outdoor photographers need. Like you don't need to know the everything else what like a model, a studio photographer, for example, knows. Like you don't need to know that stuff because you don't do that type of photography. The same thing in post-processing. You don't need to know all the tools that studio photographer uses because you do outdoor photography. So yeah, just learn the essential things, and that's gonna make photography so much more simple and fun, and you are not gonna be completely overwhelmed. I mean, no wonder you'd be overwhelmed if you really believe you need to know everything about your camera, every button, every dial. But yeah, that's not just true. And a part of going from a button clicker to a storytelling photographer is understanding the essentials, but not just understanding them, but actually getting them into your muscle memory so you don't need to think about this stuff. So you can actually capture the photos what you dream of. So if you want, for example, like my system, so my like 5-second setup formula and manual muscle blueprint, I do teach this in Storylines mentorship. So if you want to apply, then DM me ready on Instagram, or if you don't have Instagram, then just click the other link in the description and we can see could we get you in to go from a button clicker to a storytelling photographer. Alright, and number 4, you think that the camera body is more important than the lens. And again, just is not true. Now, camera body to an extent is important, of course, but the lens is more important than the camera body. Most photographers, when they are buying a camera, they think, okay, well, what camera body do I want? And then they think about the lens. And they put most of the money into the camera body when they should put it to the lens. Now, what's a function of a camera body? I see it that it is just and only to help you make good quality photos. Good quality. So if you have a bigger sensor, the better quality and the more dynamic range and so on you have. But it's just the quality. A lens is gonna be the one that actually help you shape a scene in front of you. Change the perspective and really get your vision across. Supposing you have already trained your vision, that is. But don't just think about, buying an expensive camera body and then just not putting much to the lens. Like rather do it the other way around. Now I do recommend that you do invest most into your own skill set because that's frankly what's gonna make the biggest difference. But after that, make sure to put most of the money to lenses and not the camera body. That's the right order of things. Alright, and number 5, and this is especially what I see across so many landscape photographers, and to be honest, it does hurt my brain. So most think they need a freaking tripod, and while there are cases where you should use a tripod, like when photographing the northern lights, a star sky, and in very low light scenarios, then it makes sense. But if you're shooting midday, and if you're shooting like a sunset or sunrise, and you aren't going for a long exposure or self-portrait, you don't need a freaking tripod. Like, no. I don't like using a tripod. If I can choose between a photograph taken with a tripod of ISO 100 and a photograph without a tripod of like ISO 1000 or even 2000 or even 3200, I'm gonna choose it without a tripod, because a tripod, to put it, you know, it's just pain in the ass. I don't want to put it there. I don't like it. I do still bring it most of the time, because I typically put myself into the photo, and in that case, I need it. But if I am not in the photo, there's no way I'm using the tripod if that's not required. What I find is that when I use a tripod, I'm just less creative. I have less flexibility. You know, like when you set it once, you don't necessarily as easily start, you know, they're putting it up and down in different positions. It's like, no. And what tripod really allows you to do is to get higher quality photos. And if it's not very low light quality, if you're not shooting in very low light, it's not that the tripod is gonna make a massive difference to your photos. So yeah, when I just see this like behind the scenes footage of people putting tripods into all kind of weird positions, and I'm just thinking like, what's the point? It's a sunset or sunrise. You can just much more easily take the photo without a tripod. So yeah, don't feel like you need a tripod. Sometimes it's helpful, but most of the time you just don't need it, and it's not gonna make a difference. Last point regarding this, of course, this depends also on your camera. If you don't have a camera that allows you to have higher noise levels, then yeah, then it can make more sense. But I have Sony a7 III, it's 7 years old, and it works perfectly fine for this. Then number 6, and this is that people think manual focus is better to use than autofocus. And again, while there are cases where manual focus is better, like night photography and very low light photography, apart from that, feel free to absolutely use autofocus. Most of the photos that I do are taken with autofocus. Autofocus nowadays is so good that you don't really need to think about, you know, using a manual focus, and autofocus in many cases is gonna focus better than you manually. Especially if you need to be very fast, it's gonna be much more reliable. So just use that. And even if you have a camera that doesn't have the latest, autofocus and so on, using an autofocus is still a skill that you can still get great photos with it if you just know then how to use it. So don't obsess on calculating your focus and so on. I never calculate focus. Manual focus can sometimes be helpful, but many times you're gonna be just fine with autofocus, and it's not a crime to use it. You know, like I feel landscape photographers especially are like, wow, you use an autofocus on field, you know, but feel free to use it. I give you the permission. And then number 7, my favorite thing to talk about, and I feel so many photographers really should get this right, but they just don't. And if this is one of you, it's not necessarily your fault, because so many photography teachers just talk about this stuff, and it makes you believe that this is the important stuff of photography, while it is not. So most photographers focus on the technicalities. What settings to use, what camera to have, what lens to have, while they should be focusing on the art and storytelling. That's what's gonna make you different and stand out as a photographer. If you just have a nice lens and a nice camera, and you understand the ISO, aperture and shutter speed, but you haven't trained your vision, you haven't learned like emotional editing, and you haven't trained how to frame things on field, my friend, you are just another button clicker. Nowadays, anyone can click a button and they can get a well-exposed photo. They just put the camera to auto mode and snap, and they have the photo right there. What's the point of learning manual mode anyways? It's not to get a well-exposed photo, is it? The point of learning manual mode is that you can control what is happening in front of you and how the story comes across through the photograph, right? So it's not enough to just learn how to take a well-exposed photo. That's the first step, yes. But then it is about training your vision and learning how to compose things on film in a way that really makes your photos stand out and get the reactions out of people what you're looking for. And then learning how to get most out of the photos through editing. And here's what most people don't also speak about, especially these photography teachers, is that camera allows you to capture a moment. But editing is what recreates the feelings you had when you were taking the photograph. So if you want to make standout photos and you want to get emotional reactions, in people, and that they really understand and get the story you're trying to get across, you need to understand and master also the art, the storytelling side, the editing, the composition. This is crucial to get right. So don't just focus on the settings and be another button clicker. Actually learn the art and the storytelling, which is what makes the biggest difference and makes you stand out. And if you do want to become a storytelling photographer and not be just another button clicker, then I might be able to help you through my Storylines mentorship, where I indeed take button clickers into storytelling photographers. If you want to apply to get my help to become a storytelling photographer, then DM me on Instagram with ready. Or if you don't have Instagram, then just click the other link in the description and it's gonna help you apply. Cool, but hopefully you found this video insightful, and if you did, then you're gonna also find this video insightful, where I go through 7 other mistakes I see so many photographers making. So watch the next, and I'll see you in the next one.